Good morning. You're watching the Breakfast News on Rajya Sabha Television. I'm Ashwarya Kapoor with you. Let us start the news bulletin with the top headlines. Discussion on triple talaq bill slated in Lok Sabha. Home Minister's statement on calling attention over devastations caused by cyclones Gaja and Titli in the upper house. Finance Minister's statement on supplementary demands for grants in both houses. All efforts being made to bring back fugitive economic offenders, Centre tells Lok Sabha. MOS External Affairs VK Singh lists such people including Vijay Mallya, Nirav Modi, Mehul Choksi. Niti Aayog's national strategy pitches for health reforms. Calls for operationalizing soon 150,000 health and wellness centers under Ayushman Bharat program by 2022-23. US Federal Reserve raises key interest rate for the fourth time this year, raises it by 0.25% to a range of 2.25% to 2.5%. US stock markets hit a one-year low after announcement. Asian markets slip. US begins withdrawing troops from Syria, asserts it has defeated terror group Islamic State in the country. Claims it is not the end of the global coalition against Islamic State terrorist group. Our top focus this morning, two more sittings left in the Rajya Sabha before the extended Christmas break, and there is a heavy legislative agenda slated in the upper house today. Finance Minister Arun Jaitley will lay a statement showing the supplementary demands for grants 2018-19 in the upper house. And apart from this, Home Minister Rajnath Singh will make a statement in the house in response to the calling attention matter raised by Dr. V. Maitrian on the situation arising due to devastation caused by cyclones Gaja and Titli in some states and the action taken by the government. Apart from this, in the government's legislative agenda are two bills on education sector reforms, including the National Council for Teacher Education Amendment Bill 2018 and the Right of Children to Free and Compulsory Education Amendment Bill 2018. The Representation of the People Amendment Bill 2018 and the Trafficking of Persons Prevention, Protection and Rehabilitation Bill 2018 are also listed on the agenda in the upper house. And in the lower house today are crucial bills slated for introduction, consideration and passage. These are the Muslim Women Protection of Rights on Marriage Bill 2018 for consideration and passage, the Indian Medical Council Amendment Bill 2018, the National Trust for Welfare of Persons with Autism, Cerebral Palsy, Mental Retardation and Multiple Disabilities Amendment Bill 2018 and the Consumer Protection Bill 2018. Finance Minister Arun Jaitley will introduce the Companies Amendment Bill 2018 and give a statement showing reason for promulgating the Companies Amendment Ordinance 2018. He will also present a statement showing the supplementary demands for grants, a second batch for 2018-19. So the lower house is slated to take up the bill to make the practice of triple talaq among Muslims a penal offence. It was introduced on Monday. The Muslim Women Protection of Rights on Marriage Bill 2018 was introduced to replace an ordinance issued in September. Introducing the bill, Law Minister Ravi Shankar Prasad said that it was essential to help Muslim women facing the problem of instant triple talaq. Opposing the bill, however, Congress MP Shashi Tharoor said that divorce cannot be made a penal offence. He also termed the bill as misconceived. Responding to Tharoor, Ravi Shankar Prasad said that the bill has been brought after due deliberations and after making improvements. The bill seeks to protect the rights of married Muslim women and to prohibit divorce by pronouncing talaq by their husbands. It makes all declaration of talaq, including in written or electronic form, to be void and illegal. It also makes declaration of talaq a cognizable offence, attracting up to 3 years imprisonment with a fine. And also in the Lok Sabha, discussion under Rule 193 is listed. Bhartrihari Mahatab and P. Venugopal will raise a discussion on natural calamities in various parts of the country, particularly in Kerala, Tamil Nadu and Odisha, with special reference to cyclones like Gaja, Titli, etc. Our colleague Kriti Mishra is now joining us live from Vijay Chowk in the national capital. A very good morning, Kriti. Speaking about the upper house first, there are 2 more sittings left in the Rajya Sabha before it goes into a Christmas break. And of course, there is a huge legislative agenda. But we have seen disruptions over the last several days over the Rafale issue. Can we expect some respite today?
Well, Aishwarya, yesterday we also saw disruptions in the House over Kaveri and Rafale issue. Remember, the Congress and the opposition is pushing for a JPC on the Rafale issue, but the government has made its stance very clear, saying that the Supreme Court has already given the clean chit and the Supreme Court has the last word. In fact, the government has clarified on the floor of the House that it is ready to discuss all the issues raised by the opposition on the floor of the House. In fact, MOS Parliamentary Affairs Vijay Goyal accused the Congress of running away from discussion and also accused saying that the Congress is bereft of any real issue. Now, as you mentioned today, there are important bills lined up. There's the NCT Amendment Bill, the Right of Children to Free and Compulsory Education, the Representation of People Amendment Bill. There's also a very important anti-trafficking bill to prevent trafficking of women and children and to protect and rehabilitate them. So certainly important bills are lined up in the Rajya Sabha. In fact, Finance Minister Arun Jaitley is also expected to table supplementary demands for grants, and also Home Minister is expected to reply to call attention motion that was raised on the situation arising out of cyclones with special reference to Gaja and Titli. So important day in the Rajya Sabha, and it remains to be seen whether a truce is brokered between all sides or the stalemate persists, paralysing the agenda of the House. Aishwarya?
And Kriti, as far as lower house is concerned, of course, there are key bills hanging fire there as well. But most importantly, today the lower house is slated to take up the bill to make the practice of triple talaq among Muslims penal offence. It was introduced on Monday. Any possibilities on a further discussion on this bill now?
Well, Aishwarya, you may recall that after the Supreme Court struck this practice, there were 248 cases of instant triple talaq that came to the fore. In fact, since January 2017, there have been more than 400 cases of instant triple talaq. So the government had to promulgate ordinance. In fact, when this bill was introduced in the Lok Sabha, Law Minister Ravi Shankar Prasad said that this bill is absolutely necessary for justice and equality for Muslim women. He has also appealed to all the political parties to come together and pass this crucial legislation, the proposed law. So it remains to be seen that the government has made efforts to get all the political parties on board, but the opposition parties have expressed reservations on few of the characteristics, few of the salient features of the bill. So the government has spoken to all sides, and it remains to be seen whether a consensus is built on this pro-women bill in the House.
Right, Kriti, thank you so much for all those updates there. And now let's find out what happened in the Parliament yesterday. Well, Rajya Sabha proceedings were disrupted for the 6th day in a row on Wednesday. The Rafale jet deal and the Kaveri River issues resonated in the House, even as Chairman M. Venkaiah Naidu urged the protesting members to allow the House to function.
माननीय सभापति जी नमस्कार नमस्ते.
Soon after the House conducted formal business, members of the AIADMK and DMK rushed into the well of the House, demanding protection of Kaveri Delta farmers. Meanwhile, the Congress party sought to raise the issue of Rafale deal. Chairman M. Venkaiah Naidu made fervent appeals to the members to take up the business and allow the smooth conduct of proceedings. Meanwhile, MOS Parliamentary Affairs Vijay Goyal and BJP leader Bhupendra Yadav slammed the Congress for stalling the proceedings of the House.
राहुल गांधी लोकसभा के मेंबर है, मैंने उनका नाम नहीं लिया था, पर सिर्फ कांग्रेस ने हाउस को डिस्टर्ब करना था, उसमें व्यवधान और हंगामा डालना था, इसलिए आनंद शर्मा खड़े होकर ये बोले सरकार राफेल के ऊपर चर्चा के लिए हमेशा तैयार है।
Nothing
पर
shall
हमने
go
ये
on
देखा
record
है
except Vijay
कि
Goyal.
हाउस को डिस्टर्ब करने के लिए कोई ना कोई बहाना लिया जाता है। आनंद शर्मा को अपने शब्द वापस लेने चाहिए और रिकॉर्ड से इसको हटाना चाहिए। जो शब्द उन्होंने मेरे लिए इस्तेमाल किए, मैं ये बताना चाहता हूँ। हमने ये कहा था कि सुप्रीम कोर्ट के निर्णय के बाद राफेल पे कांग्रेस को माफी मांगनी चाहिए। मैंने राहुल गांधी का नाम नहीं लिया था। तो इस तरीके से कांग्रेस के सीनियर मेंबर अगर हाउस को मिसलीड करेंगे तो मैं चाहता हूँ रिकॉर्ड करेक्ट किया जाए।
I will look into it. I will go through the records and verify.
कांग्रेस जानबूझकर पूरे हाउस को डिस्टर्ब कर रही है। सर, सबसे पहले मेरा जो 0 आवर आज दिया हुआ है कि एक संवैधानिक पद पर बैठेगा कोई भी व्यक्ति किसी भी दूसरे राज्य के व्यक्तियों के खिलाफ, नागरिकों के खिलाफ घृणा का भाव नहीं फैला सकता है। सर, ये गंभीर विषय है। मेरा 0 आवर का विषय लिया जाना चाहिए था, जो एक महत्वपूर्ण विषय था। सर, उस विषय को रोकने के लिए कांग्रेस आज पूरे हाउस को डिस्टर्ब कर रही है। सर, मेरा विषय रिकॉर्ड पे लिया जाए।
However, there was no let-up in the protest. With no visible signs of a reconciliation, the chair adjourned the House till Thursday.
That none of you want the house to run, except some honourable members who are silent. This being the case, I don't want this to be seen by the people. So I adjourn the House to meet at 11 a.m. tomorrow morning.
Kriti Mishra, Rajya Sabha TV.
And the Lok Sabha on Wednesday passed the Surrogacy Regulation Bill 2016. The bill aims at prohibiting commercial surrogacy and unethical practices related to surrogacy. And introducing the bill, Health Minister JP Nadda stated that the bill permits surrogacy only for Indian couples who cannot conceive.
The Lok Sabha on Wednesday passed the Surrogacy Regulation Bill 2016. The bill was passed after an hour-long debate amid noisy protests by Congress and AIADMK members. The bill aims at prohibiting commercial surrogacy and allows the process only by close relatives for altruistic reasons. Health Minister JP Nadda called the proposed legislation historic. Introducing the bill, Nadda said India has been a hub for commercial surrogacy. He said the bill is aimed at stopping the exploitation of Indian women. Nadda further added that the bill aims to stop commercial surrogacy and also save families by allowing them to have children using modern science.
It is towards the pure altruistic surrogacy, completely banning the commercial surrogacy, which will prevent exploitation of women in India and in future the children born through surrogacy. All sections of the society and all NGOs and all civil societies have said that commercial surrogacy should go.
Initiating the debate, Kakoli Ghosh of the TMC insisted on a ban not only on commercial surrogacy but also what she called fashion surrogacy. Members of different parties who spoke during the debate supported the bill.
We must vehemently stop fashion surrogacy that is taking place in our country. Not only commercial surrogacy, in which the surrogate mother is being exploited.
After 5 years of unprotected coitus or further medical condition or other medical condition preventing a couple for conception, this definition does not cover all cases in which a couple is unable to bear a child.
लिव इन रिलेशनशिप में कौन किसके साथ रह रहा है वो कहीं रजिस्टर्ड तो नहीं है, कोई किसी के साथ रह सकता है। यदि आप उसको सरोगेसी की तरफ ले जाएंगे, यदि आप इसके साथ इंक्लूड करेंगे तो आप कमर्शियल के लिए एक्सप्लॉयटेशन करेंगे कि नहीं करेंगे?
So whether it's widows, whether it's single, whether it's divorcee or it's the transgender, after passing such a historical bill that we just did day before yesterday, I see no reason why any of these categories. So why does it have to have the condition of being married? Can't single people have children?
The Surrogacy Regulation Bill was introduced in Lok Sabha in 2016. A standing committee suggested further recommendations in 2017. The bill defines surrogacy an arrangement whereby an intending couple commissions a surrogate mother to carry their child. It permits surrogacy only for couples who cannot conceive a child. It says that no payment other than reasonable medical expenses can be made to the surrogate mother. Surrogate children will be deemed to be the biological child of the intending couple. Central and state governments will appoint appropriate authorities to grant eligibility certificates to the intending couple and the surrogate mother. Ravindra Sharon's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
On to the other top story this morning. The centre has said that it is making all efforts to bring back people involved in financial irregularities to the country. In a written reply in the Lok Sabha on Wednesday, MOS External Affairs VK Singh said that the efforts are being made. Lookout circulars, red corner notices and extradition requests have been made. The minister listed 29 people, including Vijay Mallya, Nirav Modi and Mehul Choksi, as those involved in financial irregularities, as per the details provided by the Central Bureau of Investigation. He added that according to the information provided by the ED, there are 41 people involved in financial irregularities who fled the country, including Mallya, Nirav Modi and Choksi. 5 persons, including Nirav Modi and Mehul Choksi, were found involved in various violations of the Customs Act 1962, according to the information given by Directorate of Revenue Intelligence. The minister also informed the House that action under the Fugitive Economic Offenders Act 2018 has also been initiated in suitable cases. And the CBI arrested 10 people for alleged misuse of letter of undertakings worth 9 crore rupees in the Punjab National Bank's Brady House branch in Mumbai. The 10 people who were arrested include 8 PNB officials and 2 directors of the Mumbai-based private firm. In March, the CBI had filed a case pertaining to fraudulent issuance of LOUs amounting to 9 crore rupees to Chandri Papers and allied products by the PNB's Brady House branch. All the arrested accused have been sent to police custody till 21st of December. And policy think tank Niti Aayog estimates that Indian economy will be worth over $4 trillion in 2022, the year when our republic turns 75. Now, these encouraging claims come in Niti Aayog's document Strategy for New India at 75 that was unveiled by Finance Minister Arun Jaitley. Here are the details.
Finance Minister Arun Jaitley released the Strategy for New India at 75 prepared by Niti Aayog on Wednesday. Addressing the event, Finance Minister Jaitley said that the present model of economic development aims to allow the private sector to grow, achieve faster growth and make higher utilization of resources. Targeting the opposition, Jaitley also said that sound policy, not slogans, will help in alleviating poverty and fulfilling the aspirations of the people.
These programs go on at a fairly rapid speed. We can see the effect of the change. And the change itself has been instrumental in raising the level of popular aspirations. So the aspirations are growing, people are becoming more impatient, they want things to happen faster. And therefore, if we look at the various verticals in which the Niti Aayog's proposal for a strategy for New India, it really encompasses all areas.
The strategic document lays down a multi-pronged strategy to promote overall development of the country and accelerate growth to 8 to 9%. India will turn 75 on August 15, 2022. The development strategy includes doubling of farmers' income, boosting Make in India, upgrading the science, technology and innovation ecosystem, and promoting sunrise sectors like fintech and tourism. It also aims to make India a $5 trillion economy by 2030. It plans to steadily accelerate the GDP growth rate to achieve a target of 8% during 2018 to 2023. As per estimates, this GDP growth would raise the economy's size in real terms from $2.7 trillion in 2017-2018 to nearly $4 trillion by 2022-2023. It also estimates the growth rate to reach 9 to 10% by 2022-2023. The document also calls for expanding the scope of the Swachh Bharat mission to cover initiatives for landfills, plastic waste and municipal waste and generating wealth from waste.
This government has been on outcomes. It does that monitoring based on outcomes. and it has laid down those documents. So everything, every resource is measured on the basis of outcomes delivered, and it's a constant regular monitoring on a dashboard, and we'll be very delighted to take you through that dashboard.
The strategy for New India at 75 document has been prepared after extensive consultations with over 800 stakeholders from within the government at the central, state and district levels. The 41 chapters in the document have been disaggregated under 4 sections: drivers, infrastructure, inclusion and governance. Panchanan Mishra's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
And Niti Aayog in its strategy document also called for priority establishment of a 1,50,000 health and wellness centres under the Ayushman Bharat program by 2022-23 for coverage of affordable primary care. Pitching for reform in the health sector, Niti Aayog sought increase in the public funding on health to at least 2.5% of the GDP as envisaged in the National Health Policy 2017. It called for strengthening the Village Health Sanitation and Nutrition Day platform to cover a broader set of health issues across various population groups instead of focusing only on child health. The think tank recommended hike in the taxes on tobacco, alcohol and sweetened beverages and suggested that yoga be made a regular activity in school to encourage healthy choices and behaviors. Encouraged by the success in the recently concluded assembly elections, the Congress is once again banking on farm loan waivers to boost its fortunes in the Lok Sabha elections next year, a step that Niti Aayog says will have an adverse impact on the economy. The BJP, on the other hand, is emphasizing a strategy that sets down a permanent solution instead of temporary measures to help farmers make real profits.
After announcing farm loan waiver schemes in Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh, the Congress is preparing to contest the upcoming Lok Sabha elections on the same promise.
10 दिन में हो जाएगा. कितने दिन हुए? एक दिन हुआ, 2 स्टेट्स में हो गया. मतलब 10 गुना बेहतर परफॉर्मेंस करके मैंने दिखा दी. तो यही नेशनल लेवल पे होगा.
4.5 साल होने के बावजूद ना वित्त मंत्री, ना प्रधानमंत्री, ना भारतीय जनता पार्टी अध्यक्ष इस लोन वेवर का बात ही नहीं करता है. उल्टा भारतीय जनता पार्टी के अध्यक्ष बोलता है वो कॉर्पोरेट्स का सेक्टर का लोन माफ करते हैं, किसानों का नहीं है करके. इससे ज़्यादा क्या होना चाहिए? इसलिए किसानों का मुद्दा बहुत अहमियत रखेंगे और 2019 में वो बड़ा मुद्दा है.
The BJP government has been rejecting loan waivers for farmers as a permanent solution. Instead, it is focusing on trying to double incomes of farmers. As a step in this direction, the BJP government at the centre has increased the minimum support price. The Niti Aayog, however, feels that farm loan waivers, as announced by the Congress, will adversely impact the economy.
लेकिन जनता चाहती है कि कोई ऐसी स्थायी हल हो जिससे किसानों की आर्थिक स्थिति ठीक हो, किसानों की उपज का उचित मूल्य मिले. केवल ऋण माफ कर देने के बाद अगले साल फिर ऋण हो जाएगा, उससे समस्या का समाधान नहीं होगा. समस्या का समाधान होगा किसानों की आर्थिक स्थिति कैसे सुधरे, न्यूनतम लागत मूल्य जो है किसानों को उसकी उपज का मिले.
स्टेट गवर्नमेंट प्रेरोगेटिव, whether they want to give the farm loan waiver or not, because agriculture is a state subject, and I think therefore the central government does not in any sense have a view on whether the state should do this or not. I mean, they will have to look at their own fiscal resources, fiscal situation, and go ahead with what they want to do. My only one comment before I hand over to Dr. Chand is that in states where there is a genuine and real farmers' distress, some short-term measures would have to be taken. This is in that nature. It's not a long-term solution for the farmers' problem or for the agricultural modernization.
Agriculture issues come under the purview of the state governments, and most of them, instead of working for a permanent solution, are taking the easier loan waiver route. Panchanan Mishra's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
2 days after being sworn in, the Congress government in Rajasthan waived off loans taken by the state's farmers at a cost of 18,000 crore rupees on the state exchequer. Short-term crop loans from cooperative banks and loans of up to 2 lakh rupees taken by farmers from other banks have been waived off, and the waiver will apply to banks loans are rather taken up to 30th of November. Congress President Rahul Gandhi also tweeted the announcement on his official Twitter handle.
तमाम जो कोऑपरेटिव बैंक के लोन हैं, उन तमाम लोन को पिछली सरकार ने जिस प्रकार से वादा खिलाफी करी है कि एक तरफ का हम 50,000 तक के कर्ज माफ़ करेंगे और सिर्फ 2,000 करोड़ पहले चुकाया है, जब 8,000 का भार आने वाला था उनके ऊपर, तो 6,000 करोड़ तो छोड़ दिया हमारे को। तब भी हमने तय किया है कि 50,000 के बजाय समस्त लोन माफ करेंगे।
A top international focus now. The US Federal Reserve raised interest rates on Wednesday. The rate hike, which is the fourth of 2018, lifted the target range for Fed's benchmark lending rate by 1/4 percentage point to a range of 2.25% to 2.50%. The decision to raise the borrowing costs again is likely to anger US President Donald Trump, who has repeatedly attacked the central bank's tightening this year as damaging to the economy. The hike was as expected, but US Federal Reserve forecast fewer rate hikes next year and signaled its tightening cycle is nearing an end in the face of the financial market volatility and the slowing of global growth. The central bank has said that the US economy has been growing at a strong rate and the job market has continued to improve. It, however, noted that some gradual further rate hikes would be needed. Meanwhile, stocks in Asia were marginally lower after the US Federal Reserve raised interest rates. And the Trump administration says that the US troops are being withdrawn from Syria after the president said that the Islamic State group has been defeated. Both the Pentagon and the White House statement said that the US had started returning its troops back home as the transition to the next phase of the campaign begins. Some 2,000 troops have helped rid much of the northeastern Syria of the Islamic State terrorist groups, but the pockets of fighters remain. Washington, remember, began air raids in Syria in 2014, a year before the US ground troops moved to fight Islamic State group and train Syrian rebels in the war-ravaged country. Syria's civil war, which began in 2011, has killed hundreds of thousands of people and has displaced around half of the country's 22 million population. Pulling troops out of Syria had long been promised by US President Donald Trump. Russia says that withdrawing US troops from Syria created prospects for a political settlement. And that's the wrap on this edition of Breakfast News. Thanks for watching. Have a lovely day ahead.